Richard Goodall won, you might remember, America's Got Talent. Well, we recently checked in with Richard to see what life has been like since that big win.
I never dreamed when I got on that plane that how much life could change.
Millions of people first met Richard Goodall as the humble school janitor whose unforgettable voice captured hearts on America's Got Talent. But now, at 56, Richard has finally opened up about something fans have quietly believed all along. His emotional admission has sparked widespread conversations. The band he had depended on for years broke up from the very beginning. So, what did Richard finally reveal? And why is this heartfelt confession leaving longtime supporters emotional while changing the way many people see his remarkable journey to success? Goodall's viral moment. For more than 20 years, Goodall worked as a school custodian for the Vigo County School Corporation, most recently at West Vigo Middle School. He was much more than the person who cleaned the school. Students looked forward to seeing his friendly smile every morning. As he cleaned the cafeteria and hallways, he often sang classic rock songs, making everyone's day a little brighter. Music had always been a big part of his life. Long before he appeared on television, he sang in church choirs, enjoyed karaoke with friends, and performed in gospel trios around Terre Haute. Singing was something he loved, not something he expected to turn into a career. Many people who heard him believed his powerful voice deserved a much bigger audience than the small places where he usually performed. In 2022, everything changed. While Goodall was singing "Don't Stop Believin'" by Journey during work, one of the students secretly recorded him and uploaded the video online. By the next day, the clip was spreading quickly across social media. Within a few days, news organizations were sharing the story, and thousands of people who had never met him praised his amazing voice. The video even caught the attention of television personality Howie Mandel. After watching it, he publicly said that Goodall belonged on a much bigger stage than a middle school cafeteria. Even with all the attention, Goodall continued going to work every day in the same uniform, doing the same job he had done for more than 20 years. He had no idea that one simple video would completely change his future. Before becoming famous, Goodall had already tried to follow his dream. He once auditioned for The Voice, hoping for a chance to prove himself. Unfortunately, nothing happened. He did not even receive a callback. Instead of giving up, he quietly returned to his normal life, accepting the disappointment as part of chasing a dream that often takes many tries. 2 years after his cafeteria video became popular, producers from America's Got Talent contacted him. In May 2024, Goodall boarded an airplane for the first time in his life and flew to Los Angeles to audition. Until then, he had never traveled farther west than the Missouri River, so the trip felt like entering a completely new world. When he walked onto the stage, his nervousness was easy to see, but as soon as the music began, he relaxed. His performance of "Don't Stop Believin'" touched everyone in the audience. Judge Heidi Klum was so impressed that she pressed the golden buzzer, sending him straight to the live shows without needing another audition. Later, Simon Cowell called it one of his favorite auditions in the history of the show. From that point on, Goodall treated every performance as a special opportunity instead of simply trying to win. During the quarterfinals, he dedicated "How Am I Supposed to Live Without You" to his partner. In the semifinals, he gave an energetic performance of "Eye of the Tiger." For the finale, he sang "Faithfully," delivering an emotional performance that left many people in tears. When the season ended, Richard Goodall was crowned the winner of America's Got Talent Season 19. At 55 years old, he became the oldest champion in the show's history. He was also the first singer to win the competition in 5 years, ending a long streak of specialty acts that had taken the title. It was an unforgettable ending for television viewers, but the true story behind Richard Goodall's victory was much deeper than what people saw on stage. What challenges did he face, and how did he overcome them? Let's take a closer look. Goodall's struggles and resilience. Long before America heard Richard Goodall sing, he had already gone through many years of quiet struggles. After being turned down by The Voice, he found comfort in singing with a small gospel band. They traveled together and performed regularly, giving him a sense of purpose outside his job. Then the pandemic changed everything. Almost overnight, concerts were canceled, venues closed, and public gatherings stopped. The band he had depended on for years broke up, leaving him without one of the few places where he truly felt his music was appreciated. Soon after, life became even more difficult. In 2021, Goodall lost his first wife, Patricia Sue, to kidney cancer. She had stood by him through years of setbacks and disappointments, and losing her left a huge empty space in his life. It was much more than sadness. The daily life they had built together was suddenly gone, and the home they once shared became painfully quiet. Even with all that pain, Goodall kept going to work every morning. Staying committed to his job helped him keep moving forward, even when his life no longer felt the same. Those close to him could hear the sadness in his voice whenever he sang. That pain never completely went away. Instead, it became part of the deep emotion people later heard in his performances, even though most viewers never knew the story behind it. After so much heartbreak, life finally brought him some happiness. In 2022, Goodall met a woman named Angie, long before television contracts or fame entered his life. She saw him as Richard, not as an internet sensation or a future star. As time passed, Angie became the person he could always depend on throughout his America's Got Talent journey. She encouraged him whenever he doubted himself and reminded him that he deserved lasting happiness, not just a few moments in the spotlight. Just days before the season finale, the couple quietly married in California, choosing a private celebration with family and close friends from their America's Got Talent journey. After a peaceful beachside dinner, they returned to finale preparations, keeping the moment personal rather than turning it into a public spectacle. When Goodall won the competition, he publicly thanked Angie. He said her love and support gave him the strength to keep believing in himself through every stage of the contest. Winning also brought new challenges. After months of traveling, interviews, rehearsals, and performances, Goodall needed hernia surgery in 2024. He kept the operation mostly private while recovering and thinking about how quickly his life had changed. The recovery forced him to slow down for the first time since becoming famous, giving him a chance to reflect on everything that had happened. Angie also encouraged Goodall to explore something he had wondered about since childhood. Because he had been adopted as a baby, he had never known who his biological father was. With Angie's support, they used an ancestry service to begin searching for answers. Their search led them to a retired K-9 police officer and Army veteran named Hubert, who lived not far away in Indiana. The discovery was even more surprising because Hubert had no idea that Goodall existed. When they finally connected, they also learned that Goodall had 3 siblings he had never met or even known about. Goodall later shared that his biological father actually recognized him first. Hubert had seen him on America's Got Talent and thought there might be a connection. When they finally spoke, Hubert reportedly asked if he was the same school janitor who had competed on the singing show. He was amazed to learn that the son he never knew he had was someone he had already watched on national television. Goodall shared the happy news on social media, introducing his biological father to his fans. He also thanked Angie for encouraging him to begin the search. He admitted that without her support, he probably would have accepted never knowing that part of his life. For many years, Goodall had learned to live without knowing where half of his family history came from. He accepted those unanswered questions as part of being adopted. Meeting Hubert did not erase the past, but it gave him something he never thought he would have: a real connection to the other half of his family. Goodall has since called the reunion one of the greatest surprises of his life. But how has he touched people's lives around him? Is he very supportive? Let's find out. Goodall's community support. After the cameras stopped filming, many people thought Richard Goodall would quit his job as a school custodian and become a full-time singer, but that did not happen. Instead, he went back to West Vigo Middle School and kept cleaning classrooms and polishing floors, just as he had always done. When people asked why he stayed, his answer was simple. He loved the students, enjoyed working with the staff, and appreciated the routine the job had given him for more than 20 years. His hometown proudly supported him. The city of Terre Haute gave him the key to the city, and his school held a touching pep rally to celebrate him. Students cheered loudly, while many teachers became emotional as they thanked him for making their community proud with his kindness and humble attitude. Local news stations covered the celebration, making it feel more like a hometown parade than a school event. The community had been behind him long before he won America's Got Talent. When he first needed to travel to Los Angeles for the show, no company or sponsor paid for the trip. Instead, friends, neighbors, and even strangers who had seen his viral video raised money through local fundraisers to help him get there. As his career grew, more opportunities came his way. Goodall sang the national anthem at an Indiana Pacers game, opened a show for America's Got Talent judge favorite Howie Mandel, and performed at local holiday events like the Circle of Lights and the Riverside Festival of Lights. Even with all of those performances, he still showed up for work at the school on most mornings. Before long, his coworkers and students stopped treating him like a celebrity. Goodall said that actually made him happy. Seeing him in the school hallways every day made his fame feel normal instead of making him feel like he was always in the spotlight. That was exactly how he wanted it. Goodall often said that anyone on the show could have won. He never stepped onto the America's Got Talent stage, believing victory was guaranteed. His only hope was that people would understand how much singing meant to him. Instead of rushing into a recording contract, Goodall took his music career one step at a time. He wanted to grow naturally while staying close to the community that had supported him long before television producers discovered his talent. On August 29, 2025, Goodall released his first single, "Longtime Coming." The song was recorded in Nashville with experienced producers. When announcing its release on social media, he said he felt like the luckiest man alive and thanked fans for asking what kind of music he would make next. In the months before the release, he shared short previews of the song online, giving fans a small taste of its emotion and style. With guidance from a new management team, Goodall became more selective while building his solo career. He also performed with the local band Sugar Street, where smaller shows let him rediscover his love for singing and continue growing without the pressure of national television. In August 2025, Goodall returned to the America's Got Talent stage for the show's 20th anniversary special, opening the night with "Eye of the Tiger." Later, during the season 20 finale, he performed "Longtime Coming" with Journey guitarist Neil Schon. It was a special full-circle moment that connected back to the song that had started his incredible journey. Watching his first audition backstage that night, Goodall admitted it touched him more deeply than he expected. Now, what kind of life does he live? Is he still that famous and glamorous? Let's take a closer look. Goodall's new life after a GT. In November 2025, Goodall was the main performer at the Vigo County YMCA Inspiration Gala in his hometown of Terre Haute. He sang his new single and also performed "Don't Stop Believin'," the song that changed his life. The event raised money for local scholarships, allowing families and children from his own community to enjoy his performance without leaving town. Around that time, Goodall started talking more openly about his future. He mentioned the possibility of working with America's Got Talent judge Simon Cowell and said early plans for a full-length album were already being discussed. There were also talks about writing a book that would tell the story of his life, his struggles, and his unexpected rise to fame. His wife even hinted that his story could one day become a movie, an idea that became real much sooner than anyone expected. When someone jokingly asked who should play him in a movie, Goodall laughed and did not take the question too seriously. It showed how much more comfortable he had become with the attention and fame that had entered his life. Even with all these exciting opportunities, Goodall never forgot Terre Haute or the people who had supported him from the beginning. He continued sharing simple moments from his everyday life, along with his biggest achievements. Fans often told him that his story gave them hope and encouraged them to keep chasing their own dreams. For many years, Goodall lived two very different lives. During the day, he worked as a school custodian. At other times, he stood on stage performing for crowds. But that balance finally changed. In the summer of 2026, after 25 years of service, Goodall officially retired from his job with the Vigo County School Corporation. He admitted that making the decision was emotional. Walking through those familiar school hallways for the last time was much harder than he expected. He said he had always enjoyed the quiet mornings before students arrived, But when the hallways filled with children during his final days at work, he truly realized that this chapter of his life was ending. The moment was far more emotional than he had imagined. Goodall also admitted that leaving a steady job was frightening. He explained that a career in entertainment is much less predictable than receiving a regular paycheck, so choosing to leave the security of his old job was not an easy decision. The co-workers who had spent years working with him described his farewell as both happy and sad. They celebrated everything he had achieved while also knowing they would miss seeing him every day. For the students and staff who had watched his incredible journey from the beginning, saying goodbye to their janitor felt like the end of a story they had all shared together. At the same time, Goodall surprised everyone with another major announcement. He signed an agreement with Everard Entertainment and Mad Chance to turn his life story into a feature film. Screenwriter Chris Parizo was chosen to write the movie. The producers said Goodall's life was the perfect story for the big screen. They pointed to his America's Got Talent victory, his marriage, and the unexpected discovery of his biological family as proof that his journey was almost too unbelievable to be true. Goodall, however, has stayed humble through it all. How did he start? And how was his private life? Let's find out. Goodall's early beginning and personal life. Richard Goodall was born in Indianapolis, Indiana, but he spent almost his entire life in the nearby city of Terre Haute. Before anyone across the country knew his name, he lived a quiet and ordinary life built around hard work, family, and serving his local community. For more than 23 years, he worked as a school custodian with the Vigo County School Corporation. His job included cleaning classrooms, polishing floors, preparing school buildings each day, and helping create a safe and welcoming place for students and teachers. Those who knew him described him as friendly, humble, and always willing to lend a helping hand. Although Richard worked as a custodian, music was always an important part of his life. He loved to sing while working because it made his daily routine more enjoyable. Students and teachers often stopped to listen whenever they heard his powerful voice filling the school hallways. Many of them believed he had an incredible talent that deserved to be heard by a much larger audience, even though Richard never imagined becoming famous. After finishing high school, he attended Arizona State University, where he studied computer science and business. Even with all the attention, Richard remained grounded. He continued living the same simple life and stayed focused on the values that had guided him for many years. He never forgot the community that had supported him long before fame found him. Instead of letting success change who he was, he stayed true to the humble personality that people admired. His personal life also reached an exciting milestone in September 18, 2024. On that day, Richard married his longtime fiancée, Angie Vanovan, in Pasadena, California. Just 6 days later, on September 24, 2024, he experienced another unforgettable moment when he was crowned the winner of Season 19 of America's Got Talent. As of 2026, the latest available reports estimate that Richard Goodall's net worth is around $500 million. Although this figure has not been officially confirmed by Richard or his representatives. So, what do you think about Richard Goodall's shocking revelation? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.